Welcome to the final Prem and Proper for the 22-23 Premier League season. We're going to go over all of the results, get your standings, get your prize money, go through our quotes of the week, and get you ready for a very, very busy offseason because summer window coming up in short order. Folks moving around. There's always going to be gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and you can always follow that. Traditionally, at the end of every SDH on the morning side, Soccer's Morning Show is available live on Twitch starting at 9:05 in the morning and then posted to the SDH app shortly thereafter. All the information that you need to know when it comes to the very, very busy land of transfers you can catch up with early in the morning, Monday through Friday. So let's get you through the final results of the season, lay out your standings, and let you know where things are as we head into the off-season. So in England, your Premier League standings, once again, Manchester City on top, and they were clear of Arsenal and everybody else by the time it was done. Manchester City wraps up with 89 points, losing the last match of the season to Brentford, something that Brentford did. Brentford got the double on Manchester City in 22-23. Didn't matter. 5 points clear of Arsenal. Third, Manchester United. Fourth, Newcastle. Fifth, Liverpool at 67 points, unbeaten in their last 5. Sixth, Brighton. Europa League football for them. Aston Villa in 7th. Spurs out of European football, having lost 3 of their last 5, finishing with a win on the final day over Leeds. Brentford just missed out as well, 59 points. Fantastic showing for the Bees at the GTAC and Thomas Frank. They finish in 9th place. Fulham, 10th place, fairly comfortable, 7 points above and below, wrapped up at 52 points. Crystal Palace, 45 points in 11th. Chelsea only ended up with 5 points in their last 5 matches. One of those wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, finishing with 44 points. Worst points showing since 95-96. Wolves at 41 points. West Ham at 40, still chasing after a title, a European trophy. Bournemouth in 15th, although they lost their last 4 after the push to get them close to 35 points and then at 39 before their season ended. Nottingham Forest surviving with a couple weeks to go. 2 wins and 2 draws in their last four matches to keep them away from the relegation fight. Everton had to survive on the final day. Everton gets a win over Bournemouth 1-0, gets them north of the relegation bar, just escaping again. So relegated. Leicester, Leeds, Southampton. Leicester, even though they won on the final day, knocking off West Ham 2-1, didn't matter. They needed Everton to lose, needed some help, didn't get it. Leeds losing, getting a goal scored on them in the first 2 minutes against Tottenham Hotspur, losing 4-1. Sam Allardyce wants to come back. Odds are he probably won't. And we'll see where Leeds goes from here. All the storylines coming up at the end of the show that we will be looking into when it comes to 2023-24 season. So let's get you into prize money. And that's why when you sit there sometimes and you will see that there are teams that might be, chasing after something, you'll wonder why they're still fighting come the last match of the season. Well, it's because of the weighted prize money that is attached to everything in the Premier League. And the way that it gets laid out is like this. Manchester City won the league. They ended up with £170 million in their coffers. Arsenal at 167.8. Manchester United 165.5. Newcastle 163.4. Liverpool 161.2. Brighton $159 million. Villa 156.8. Spurs 154.6. Brentford $152.4 million. Fulham £150.2 million. Crystal Palace for finishing 11th, £148 million. Chelsea 145.8. Wolves at 143.6. West Ham 141.4. Bournemouth 139.2. So basically, Bill Foley, who dropped $150 million to purchase Bournemouth, almost got it all back with the prize money for sticking in the Premier League. Forest at 137. Everton at 134.8, and then the 3 teams that got relegated. Leicester at 132.6, Leeds at 130.4, Southampton at 128.2. So That's what you're staring at. Equal base payment from TV rights, worth around £84 million. Then it grows once again compared to the 84 to the full numbers that we ended up with. Biggest losers will have been Chelsea and Liverpool for falling out of Champions League, because participating in that competition is worth an extra £100 million traditionally. Parachute payment still in place. Saints, Leicester, and Leeds are going to be looking to really tighten up their belts over the next couple of years, because it ends up being £44 million, £34 million, and if they had spent more than 3 years in the Premier League, you get a third year, and it would be about £15 million. So each of the three teams barely qualified for that third year of parachute payments. Those numbers that we gave you were based on last season's figures, extra layers factored in on account of increased TV revenues. Estimated totals were what we gave you when it came through 1 through 20. Beating Manchester United in Saturday's FA Cup final at Wembley would be worth an additional $4 million compared to everything else. If City goes on to become the second English club to complete the treble, they'll earn almost £270 million for the work that they've put in this season. Winning Champions League's worth another $95 million, though they've been guaranteed about $90 for reaching the final to take on Inter Milan. Chelsea set out to lose on a minimum £70 million for finishing 12th and missing out on European football. Liverpool counts the $50 million cost of reaching the Europa League. Spurs set to miss out on a similar amount for their campaign. Arsenal, Manchester United, Newcastle get to add that because they'll be sliding into those particular figures. So that's your estimated revenue picked up for all the teams with their spots in the Premier League. So let's take a tour and get through the sound of the week. So what could the Chelsea starting 11 look like under new head coach Mauricio Pochettino, who signed a 2-year deal with an option for a third, knowing all the clearing out of folks, including Joao Felix, that have to happen in short order? The Football Show addressed that issue on Sky Sports News.
Will he be watching videos? Now he will know a lot of those players because they're household names as to how he finds the 25 or so that he wants to work with.
Well, knowing Mauricio, as I do from the time I covered a little bit of Tottenham and a lot of Southampton, he will have already been spending countless hours looking through tapes, looking through games, performances, the data, which is such a massive part now about the way managers manage. And he'll be looking at those players in that squad and thinking, right, these are the players that I want to keep. These are the ones that I can improve. These are the players that perhaps aren't going to be a part of things. But also there's the financial side of things as well. Todd Boehly and the board will be saying to Mauricio Pochettino, I need to raise 100 million, 150 million from player sales. I don't care who goes. You tell me who you want to keep. But I also need to raise some money because there are players there. Mason Mount, 50, 60 million minimum should he leave? Conor Gallagher's another one that's been courting interest from other Premier League sides. He's another £30 million player plus. And there'll be 2 or 3 others as well. And obviously the other big factor is wages. Chelsea do have a number of players that are on significant weekly wages. And that's a big factor of what they would like to do moving forward, is they want to trim that down.
We've been talking about Tottenham Hotspur, who finished at 18, 6, and 14. After 38 matches, finishing in 8th out of European football. Question was raised, how different would they be without Harry Kane? Here's the answer.
One of the most disastrous campaigns Spurs have had in over a decade, you must say. The fact they're not in Europe next season, the fact they qualified for the Champions League last season, just shows what a fall from grace it has been. And he turns 30 this summer. His next move will be the biggest move, whether that is, and it seems unlikely, signing a new deal with Spurs, or it is indeed moving to another club this summer. We know that Daniel Levy does not want to sell to another English club, but from a business perspective, can you afford to have a player of that calibre, with that value at the moment, leaving for absolutely nothing next summer?
As I said there, I asked the question, where would Spurs be without Harry Kane? That probably gives you a little bit of the answer. 40% of team points won came through goals from Harry Kane.
One of the most disastrous campaigns Spurs have had in over a decade, you must say. The fact they're not in Europe next season, the fact they qualified for the Champions League last season, just shows what a fall from grace it has been. And he turns 30 this summer. His next move will be the biggest move, whether that is, and it seems unlikely, signing a new deal with Spurs, or it is indeed moving to another club this summer. We know that Daniel Levy does not want to sell to another English club. But from a business perspective, can you afford to have a player of that calibre, with that value at the moment, leaving for absolutely nothing next summer?
As I said there, I asked the question, where would Spurs be without Harry Kane? That probably gives you a little bit of the answer. 40% of team points won came through goals from Harry Kane.
Mentioning movement, Declan Rice is a name that's been getting a lot of play. Still under contract. Arsenal's interested. What about it?
Our information a few weeks ago was that Declan, should he leave West Ham, it's important to point out as well, he's still under contract here. He's not a free transfer, and this would be a sizable financial package should he leave East London. That Arsenal were potentially his preferred destination should he decide to leave West Ham, should someone meet the valuation that they have of the player. However, the financial package is growing. You know, there is obviously a hefty fee for West Ham. There'll be agency fees, there'll be add-ons, there'll be wages. And when you start to look at the total package for a player like Declan Rice, who's an England international as well, it could be quite sizable. And therefore, that would rule out certain clubs. You know, there would be 6, 7, 8 clubs in the Premier League that would all take him. But there's only maybe 2 or 3 that could afford him. And I think Arsenal, whilst they might be his preferred choice, should he had an open book of choosing where he wanted to go, I think Arsenal might find the financial challenges. And we've seen them over the course of the last 12 to 18 months. If they can't meet the valuation and they don't think it's right financially for the football club, they'll quite happily walk away for the deal. So that leaves you potentially with Chelsea, Man City, Bayern Munich.
We mentioned Newcastle. Newcastle heading into European football with a record of 19-14-5. Tied for the fewest losses in the Premier League in 22-23, tied with Manchester City. They drew 14 times. They only lost 5. 71 points on the finish. Callum Wilson was asked about the season for Newcastle United, courtesy of our friends at Sky.
I think hard work has got us to an unbelievable achievement. We've took the club to a place it's not been in a long time, especially from where it was. So I think from everyone involved and associated with the club, it's been a good season all around.
You mentioned hard work. How have you done it? How have you done it consistently over a whole season?
It's a mindset, really, of trying to be consistent, trying to keep your standards high, keeping that togetherness as a squad and with the fans as well. They've given us a real lift, as you've seen today. The atmosphere was unbelievable. Last game of the season, travelled in numbers. So I think as a football club as a whole, everyone's stuck together, and it's not been the case over the years. So I think that's definitely is what's brought us to success as well.
On today, can I ask you first about Lewis Miley, a 17-year-old making his Newcastle debut, senior debut, Premier League debut. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. He should have, got himself on the score sheet. We was all rooting for him, bless him. But an unbelievable achievement. Signed his pro contract this season. Come with the first team for the last few weeks. End of the season, opportunities arise, and he's got himself into that position through his hard work, dedication. And today it's a great occasion for him. So he's got a big future ahead of him, and he's a level-headed lad. So I'm sure he'll keep his feet on the ground too.
I think if I've done my maths correctly, I think he was born around 2 weeks after Alan Shearer's final game for the club against Sunderland.
It's unbelievable. So I think, fantastic achievement, like I say. And when people are born in 2000 onwards, it makes me feel old, to be honest with you. So I'm happy for him because he's a lovely kid.
Yeah, okay. And let's talk about you this season, because the goals have been coming thick and fast. You seem like all of the attacking players seem to have had that, been on the same wavelength. Just how have you found it, and how are you satisfied with your own performances?
Yeah, I think it's been a good year. We've had ups and downs throughout the season. We went for a period of everybody talking about the attackers not scoring enough goals, and then we started getting 4 5s in games. So it's typical roller coaster of a season, but you've got to be there to take the chances, and that's what we've done. Personally, 18, my highest in the Premier League. Disappointed not to get 20, but it gives me more hunger to probably go again next season and try and achieve that goal.
Down to the bottom of the table in Everton, who survived once again, winning only 8 times in 38 matches, drawing 12, losing 18, goal difference of -23, 36 points. You survived again. Sean Dyche admits there's got to be a lot done to not have this continue to happen, where you're chasing your tail at the end of the season. Our friends at NBC Sports caught up with Jordan Pickford after everything had calmed down at Goodison Park after Everton stayed up on the final day.
Jordan, you say that you don't feel the pressure in these big moments, particularly, but just with the threat of relegation, how much does it concern you? The lads, like, what's the kind of spirit been like for you personally, and also the team over the last couple of weeks?
No, for me, the lads, the dressing room's brilliant, and if we got 3 points against Wolves, it would have been done last week, but we didn't, and it was just about reconnecting, working hard on the training pitch and keep going. We've got too much quality in the side to be down the bottom. We've got to take a look out everyone individual to come back next season and not be in them positions.
When you see Sean Dyche on the touchline, he's animated. It seems like there's a huge buy-in from the club, from the players. Would you like to see him back in a long-term capacity?
Yeah, of course. I don't know what's being said behind the scenes or anything, but we need structure at this club. It's been too long, I feel. We're chopping and changing managers. I think football's gone that way a little bit anyway. Over the course of the season, you see how many managers. It's never nice to see a manager lose a job, and everyone contributes. And we've got to take blame ourselves when a manager loses a job. But I feel like we need that structure and that going forward, leading into the new stadium.
Jordan, you talked about when you were during the game and you were sort of hearing sniffs of what was going on at Leicester and at Leeds. Is that the fans telling you? Who's telling you? And how did you learn what was happening as each moment was going on?
No, I felt like the fans were all right. It didn't go too silent. They were still behind us. And nothing, I didn't really hear anything from the fans' perspective. If Leicester were... It was when I went in the half-time. I asked myself more than anything. Right. Even though I shouldn't, I should be focused on my individual job. But that's the type of lad I am. I wanted to know. I couldn't wait. So.
Well, I was actually wanted to ask you, in that dressing room at half-time, did the manager bring up the fact that Leicester...
No, nothing. The sole focus was on us as a team. It was in our hands. It was about us putting a performance on and scoring a goal. I would like to score more than one goal, but we didn't.
Well, we really appreciate your time, Jordan. Thank you so much. Massive congratulations. Cheers. On surviving on the final day. Fingers crossed you don't do it against yourselves next year. Yep. We appreciate it. Jordan Pickford, Everton and England goalkeeper, joining us live here on USA Network. Hope you enjoyed that.
One of the three teams that is heading in. We knew about Burnley. We knew about Sheffield United. The third one to qualify after a win in penalties, Luton Town. Sky caught up with their boss, Rob Edwards, as the work is beginning all over again, and asked him about some of the promises that he kept had the team made it to the Premier League.
You can see how much it means to the town. The turnout was incredible. It's another emotional day when you see what it means to everyone. Great for us to be able to see everyone and actually show them the trophy and share that moment with them. I know a lot of them would have been there at Wembley on Saturday, but to be here in the town celebrating is really special.
I don't think this morning you woke up expecting you'd be singing Bon Jovi in front of a crowd of, say, 10,000 out there.
Thanks for reminding me of that now. That was embarrassing, wasn't it? That was more nerve-wracking doing that than the penalty shootout on Saturday. I felt so uncomfortable. That was a bit crazy.
What are your overriding emotions now, 48 hours on? Are you still lapping up, enjoying the celebrations, or are you starting to think about next season and what's needed this summer?
Always thinking about next season. I think the work will probably start tomorrow. There's been a lot that's been ongoing anyway, the process of it. We're going to enjoy this moment now. I'll have a few drinks again today. We've got to enjoy these times because they're few and far between in a career, so you have to enjoy them. It'd be wrong of us to do that or to not. But of course, we've got to get to work quickly because obviously the challenge we've got now coming up is massive.
Let's look at the last 12 months you've had. Gaining promotion with Forest Green, the spell at Watford, what you've done now with Luton. Do you feel like you need to give yourself a few days just to reflect on all that's happened in your life in the last 12 months?
It is hard to, if you do stop and think about it, it does make me think, wow, there's a lot that's gone on, but I haven't really allowed myself that. I think in football, you don't get that much time for reflection, and we should really. We do need to try and learn and look back and take some of the good stuff, learn from some of the things and mistakes or whatever we've made, but it has been a roller coaster ride. But 2 promotions in 2 years is incredible. It's been a great start, but I've still got a load to learn. The great thing is I've got brilliant people that I'm working with, got a great group of players and a wonderful football club, so we're enjoying it.
We're here in the town hall. You're about to parade the trophy once again to the thousands of fans. I just wonder, what does it mean to you to give these people experiences and moments that they'll never forget in their entire lives?
I was really lucky to be part of the promotion at Blackpool 13 years ago, and seeing what that meant for them, the supporters, for us as players, the staff, was incredible, and it made me want to go into coaching that moment there. So I got on my B licence, and it sort of started 13 years ago. So to be a part of it now is really special, and it does humble you. So you have to enjoy these moments, really special. But when it's with good people as well, it makes it even more special.
This achievement wouldn't be possible without Tom Lockyer and his impact this season. How is he? Have the boys had a chance to be able to see him as well?
I haven't been able to see him yet. He's still in hospital. He's in really good hands. He's okay. But he's not going to be able to be with us over the next couple of days anyway. I've got to reiterate that. I said it after the game. The most important thing is health and family. But he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine, and we'll see him soon.
And finally, work begins straight away on Kenilworth Road, preparing it for the Premier League season. Just how excited are you to welcome the best managers and the best players in the world here to Luton?
Yeah, we can't wait for that. And you're in the game. We're all in the game to be at the best, in the best league possible, to be competing against the best players, the best managers, and we're going to do that now. So it's a heck of a challenge. We're really looking forward to it. I want to enjoy this moment now, because I'll probably start waking up having nightmares soon, thinking about who's coming to town. But let's enjoy it. We've got to make the most of it. The town, the supporters, we all have to really take it in, because it's really, really special.
So here's your questions as we go through. Manchester City, who stays and who goes? That's what you've got to look at as Manchester City chases their 6th title in 7 years in the Premier League. Arsenal, who do you add? Manchester United, what's the sale going to look like? And then what can Erik ten Hag do with the resources as they finished winning 4 in a row? What can Erik ten Hag do when you get your new owners? Newcastle, we know they're going to invest. How are they going to invest? To the tune of about £80 million as the 4. Liverpool, every time we sit there and we write Liverpool off, the zombie Liverpool comes back, storms back up the table. Can they afford to do that for another year? They're obviously releasing 4 players, including the likes of Milner and Bobby Firmino. So what happens? Who do you bring in? That's the next question. Brighton. Folks are chasing after Moises Caicedo. Folks are chasing after Alexis. Folks are chasing after Roberto De Zerbi. How does Brighton hold 6th under De Zerbi? Villa, what kind of investment can Unai Emery make? Spurs, is Spurs going to invest? Are you going to keep Harry Kane? Who's going to be your manager? Ryan Mason wants it, but you could afford him. Who else would you bring in? Brentford, David Raya is the only player on the block, according to head coach Thomas Frank. Folks are chasing after Thomas Frank, too. Sounds like he wants to stay. Brentford has already brought in a replacement for David Raya, whose price tag is in the neighborhood of £40 million. Fulham, investment. What is Fulham going to do? Or are they happy with what they have, tweaking here and there, staying mid-table and being safe? Crystal Palace. Roy Hodgson believes that the team can improve on 45 points. Do they re-sign Wilfried Zaha in the offseason to one of the richest contracts that they have promised in recent order? Chelsea with Mauricio Pochettino. Who stays, who goes? You've got 7,000 players under contract. Who stays, who goes? What's it going to look like? Wolves. First question is for Julian Lopetegui. Do you keep him? And then what does Lopetegui get to do for investment? West Ham, do you keep David Moyes? Apparently so. How much of a leash does he get at the beginning of the season next year if you've got a European title and you come off slowly, what happens there? Bournemouth, does Bill Foley invest? And to what amount does Bill Foley invest? You've made it to 39 points. Now you have to maintain. What's your investment level going to be? Forest, we know that the owner of Nottingham Forest is more than happy to invest. How much tweaking do you do after the offseason with the 24 transfers that you brought in? And once you let things calm down after the January window, you saw what Steve Cooper could do. How much patience do you have with Steve Cooper? Yes, you've signed him to that longer-term contract, but how do you tweak in the offseason? Loan deals. You know you want to try to keep Dean Henderson. Keylor Navas helped you through at net. So what do? Everton, you've got to invest. First off, you've got to get new owners. MSP and 777 are chasing you right now. They want to pick you up from Farhad Moshiri. The fans want to sack the board. And charging onto the pitch at Goodison Park and yelling sack the board and charging onto the pitch and celebrating the fact that you survived again, not cool on both fronts. You've got to get new ownership. You've got to sack the board. You've got to get rid of all of the old vibes that are attached. And Sean Dyche is right. You have to invest. Whoever that individual or individuals are, you have to invest to keep yourself from this fight for the third year in a row. For the 3 teams going down, Leicester City, there's been a lot of investment made by the Srivadapana family. Do they continue to invest, and to what levels? You've got a new practice facility that you've invested 9 figures to the left of the decimal in. What do you do? And obviously you're going to be selling players off, including James Maddison. How much of that do you recoup? You'll get your 80 to 85 million in parachute payments over the next 3 years, but you're going to have to tighten your belts. Same for Leeds. What's up with the sale? Radrizzani has 54% up for sale. 49ers want it. The 49ers investment group wants it. But they're not going to pay the $450 million valuation for the team that is no longer in the Premier League. Maybe it'll be a third of that. So we'll see what that looks like, since Radrizzani wants to purchase Sampdoria. Obviously, the funds going from one would help purchase the other. And Southampton, the analytics didn't work. Analytics approach did not work. So what happens now with them in the championship with all of the resources that they have? James Ward-Prowse, Che Adams, obviously 1 and 2 when it comes to the folks that will be able to help offset things in the coffers. But those 3 teams are going to be interesting to watch in the championship. The teams coming up, Burnley. This is not your older brother's Burnley. This is Vincent Kompany, who has completely turned things around philosophically. And you saw how they dominated in the championship. So can Burnley stay up? That's the question. If Burnley stays up, who goes down? Sheffield United, it's going to be tough. They've always been a team on a budget. Luton Town probably is the favorite to go down. Fantastic story. They've got to invest $10 million to advance Kenilworth Road, their home turf, but not for seating, for press and for television. 5,000 is the minimum number for seats in the Premier League. Kenilworth Road seats a little over 10. But they have to invest and complete the construction in the next 75 days to figure out what's going on at Kenilworth Road so you can be TV and broadcast and press compliant. So we'll see what happens there. But, yes, everybody's looking at Luton Town 9 years from non-league to being in the Prem, and odds are you're the top team in everybody's book to go back down. But we'll see what happens. Those are your questions. I welcome yours. It's another go-round in another season of Prem and Proper. We'll be keeping an eye on things on the morning show every single day. See who's in, who's out, who's going where, who's being looked at, all these kinds of things, because the summer's going to be crazy. Thanks all season long for putting up with us for Prem and Proper, breaking everything down in the Premier League. We'll be around. We're not going anywhere. We'll have other programming as well here on the network to kind of take you through what's going on European football as we go. But we'll keep an eye on the Premier League, see what happens, especially as they come over in July to the States for the Premier League Showcase. We'll keep an eye on those matches as well. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks for listening for another season of Prem and Proper. Played safe, everybody. Enjoy your teams and enjoy the matches in the EFL Pyramid and in the Premier League.